Iowa has Caitlin Clark, who's become this huge star. She's amazing, and she's getting all this attention, and some nasty press reporters are upset about it. People like that. Of course, Jamel Hill has weighed in. Like, a lot of people taking shots at her. Been in the WNBA for 2 minutes. There's no reason to hate her other than the amount of attention she's getting and her skin color. I mean, would this be happening to a black Caitlin Clark?
No.
Getting the same amount of attention.
In Iowa has Caitlin Clark, who's become this huge star. She's amazing, and she's getting all this attention, and some nasty press reporters are upset about it. Did you see what just happened, Megyn Kelly? Yeah. That Megyn Kelly just dropped a bombshell on the WNBA. She's not holding back, exposing how they're treating Caitlin Clark like she's the enemy. Can you believe it? Wondering what Megyn Kelly said that has the WNBA in an uproar. Her bold comments about Caitlin Clark are lighting up the basketball world, sparking a full-on meltdown. Kelly didn't hold back, and now her remarks have the entire league on edge. Let's dive into the details everyone's talking about. She came out to say her own scoring record stands despite Caitlin Clark beating it, because I guess they didn't have three-pointers when she was playing, which is just ridiculous. Kelly didn't pull any punches when she called out the WNBA for how they're treating Clark. She straight up said what's happening to Clark is just that bad. Can you believe it? This isn't some random hot. Kelly's words carry serious weight. She's getting a lot of hate from people like that. Of course, Jamel Hill is weighed, like a lot of people taking shots at her now. You might be thinking, wait, since when does Megyn Kelly care about basketball? And you're right to wonder. Kelly's not usually one to weigh in on sports drama, so why is she speaking up now? It's because what's happening to Clark is so outrageous. Even Kelly couldn't stay silent. She's been in the WNBA for 2 minutes. There's no reason to hate her other than, and the amount of attention she's getting and her skin color. I mean, would this be happening to a black Caitlin Clark? No, getting the same amount of attention. Here's where it gets really intense. Kelly exposed how some players are targeting Clark on the court. She's not just talking about tough defense or normal competition. No, Kelly's saying Clark is facing straight up abuse, and get this, she claims the league is just letting it happen. How crazy is that? And it's resulted in physical alterations on the court that don't get called as fouls, that the girls then deny were intentional, and Caitlin Clark always takes the high road. She never, points the finger, but it happened again. But Kelly didn't stop there. She connected the dots between Clark's treatment and bigger issues in women's sports. You know how Clark's been getting tons of attention lately. Well, Kelly dropped a bombshell, saying many black women inside the WNBA are resentful that this white woman came in and is getting all this attention. Wow, that's a serious accusation, and it's got people fired up on all sides. Kelly's not just talking about fouls and rough play. She's saying there's a whole mess of racial tension bubbling under the surface of the WNBA. And she thinks Clark is caught right in the middle of it all. People weren't going Jake because they were homophobic racists. That's why the other girls resent Caitlin getting attention, cause she's not black. Now you might be wondering, is Kelly right about all this? Well, that's the million-dollar question. But one thing's for sure, her comments are forcing everyone to take a hard look at what's really going on in the league. Kelly says Clark is transforming the sport into something mainstream. And if that's true, it looks like not everyone's happy about it. These are the highest ratings in more than 10 years, and it is 100% because of Caitlin Clark. Those are regular NBA ratings. Like, if you get a couple million people watching an NBA game, you're pretty happy. As a network guy, she is the Michael Jordan. Like, I know you're not a major basketball, but she is the Michael Jordan of female basketball. Every single player in that league, every single coach, manager, janitor, anyone who has anything to do with that league should be bowing at the altar of this woman. She is transforming the sport into something mainstream, which is what the UMBA was set out to do when I think it started in 1994 or 1995. This isn't just drama, it's a full-on earthquake shaking up the WNBA, and trust me, we're only seeing the first tremors. The aftershocks from Kelly's bombshell are going to be felt for a long time to come. Remember that Blackie Clark was sporting it wasn't from a wild night out, it was from the court, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Get ready to see some of the most jaw-dropping basketball plays you've ever witnessed. Spoiler alert, they're not really basketball plays at all. Now you might be thinking, come on, how bad can it really be? Let me tell you, it's worse than you can imagine. We're not talking about a little pushing and shoving here. We're talking about plays that'll make you wonder if some players forgot they're on a basketball court and not in a boxing ring. And yet, since she's joined the league as a rookie, she's been abused. She's been abused over and over again by these other players. Let's start with that black eye incident during a game against the Connecticut Sun. Player named Dune Carrington straight up scratched Clark's eye with her fingernails. Can you believe that? And here's the kicker, no foul was called, not even a whistle. It's like the refs were watching a different game or something. At the end it seems pretty obvious to me. Intentionally scratches Caitlyn's eye with her long fingernails. She denies it was intentional, but watch, there it is, hold on. So she goes for the ball. And then look, she points her hand down after the play after the ball is passed. This player from the Sun, and it seems very clear she bends her fingers into Caitlyn's eyes. There it is, she could pull her hand away, she didn't. She got, and Caitlyn had a black eye, and it was not called. But wait, it gets crazier. After the game, Carrington had the nerve to say, I didn't even know I hit her. Actually, are you kidding me? How do you not know you just scratched someone's eye? It's not like Clark was trying to hide it. She was sporting a shiner for days. After all, that was a lie in my opinion. Phil Houston spy the like, I would say all that she had all the telltale signs of lying. If you asked me, did you hit her intentionally, I'd say no, nope, I didn't. She went right into convincing behavior. I didn't. I don't even know why I would intend to hit anybody in the eye. That's what a bank robber says. You, a bank robber says, I'm an honest person. Why would I ever rob a bank? I have money, I have a job. A truth tell says, no, I didn't rob the bank. No, it all this convincing behavior and not a no and denial. What this is, obviously a liar, and I don't know this person. And that's not even the worst of it. There's been play after play where Clark's getting knocked around like a pinball. We're talking about players deliberately colliding with her during inbound passes, elbows flying left and right, and don't even get me started on the accidental trips. But after a series of events where we've watched all season long and into the postseason Caitlyn Clark get abused and taken out, I mean even during timeouts people are intentionally walking into her, bumping into her, doing things mid-play and after the play. And if you don't know, Christine Brennan's so woke I don't know how she ever sleeps. So this isn't exactly somebody coming from the Daily Wire or Fox News. So the fact that they're attacking her just shows you the WNBA continues to drop the ball on this whole issue. They got given the greatest gift of all time. You might be thinking maybe it's just tough basketball. Think again, the stats don't lie, and they're painting a pretty ugly picture. The number of fouls not being called in Clark's games is off the charts. It's like there's an unwritten rule to let her get beat up out there. Let's break it down for a second. In basketball, there's physical play, and then there's what Clark's case dealing with. This isn't about playing tough defense, this is about players trying to intimidate her, trying to throw her off her game. And you know what, it's not working. Clark's still out there dominating, which is probably making some players even more frustrated. You see, this isn't just about Clark anymore, it's about the whole culture of the league. It's about player safety, fair competition, and honestly, it's about the future of women's basketball. Because if this is how the WNBA treats its rising stars, what message does that send to young players dreaming of going pro? Remember when we thought this was just about basketball? Think again, there's a whole other game being played behind the scenes. And it's got nothing to do with what happens on the court. Let's break down why some folks are saying race is the real reason Clark's causing such a stir, that many black women inside the WNBA are resentful that this white woman came in and is getting all this attention. Nobody disputes that she's an amazing basketball player, but still they seem residential, full and angry toward her. You might be wondering, why are we even talking about race? Well, it turns out there's this big elephant in the room that nobody wants to deal with. Some people are saying there's a racial element to all the backlash against Caitlyn Clark. I know that's a pretty heavy accusation, right? But here's the thing, we can't just ignore this part of the story. It's like a volcano that's been bubbling under the surface and now it's starting to erupt. Did you know that about 70% of WNBA players are black? That's a big deal when you think about how much attention Clark, a white player, is getting. Unfortunately, there still is that stigma of against the LGBTQ plus community. 70% of the WNBA is black. A third of the players are in the LGBTQ plus community. I think that people have a problem with basketball playing women that are lesbians. Who cares? They are great athletes. Now you might be thinking, wait, isn't this just about talent? Well, it's not that simple. Some people are saying Clark's popularity isn't just about her skills. They're pointing to things like pretty privilege and white privilege. Can you believe it? Sunny Hostin even said Clark might be more relatable to a whiter